Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananaham Swa Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamastravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anasrinvan Utibhiksi Dasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitrayavatu Ganesaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Yasya Dviradavakradhyah Parishadhyah Parasatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Manojavam Maruta Tulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanara Yutha Mukhyam Sri Ramadutam Sirasa Namami Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Sri Rama Nama Varanana Om Namayiti Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakāñjalim Bāshpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam. With Swami's grace, let us continue where we left off yesterday in our last session. Manthara is speaking to Kaikeyi, giving her ill advice, cunning and crooked and wily advice, a stratagem that she is employing, all because of her anger towards Rama that we saw earlier, right? Her anger. And another very important thing is, if you want to, again, we covered this a couple of classes before, was everything happens according to Rama's will. This is all Rama's strategy. And you know very well that Rama had already spoken to Kaikeyi about the role that she has to play in his mission. And the drama is unfolding. Let us continue. So Kaikeyi, when Manthara put forward her arguments repeatedly and more forcefully, Kaikeyi succumbed to her strategies, to her manipulations. And then she said, hearing your words, I feel that each statement is more convincing than the previous one. Yes, indeed. Now, this is not a matter that we can wait. Now, what has to be done next? If you can tell me the next step that I have to take, I will do so and put that into action. That's what Kaikeyi said. The moment Kaikeyi gave this clear sign of absolutely having been won over by her strategies and her manipulations and all that, Manthara was now overwhelmed with pride and joy. Yes, I am achieving what I want to achieve, Then she started speaking with greater assurance. Absolutely. She said, Amma, listen, you don't need to think about this anymore. No further thinking is required. Whatever arguments that we need to support your point of view is already ready. It's already there. And not only they are ready, they are also strong. So, then she reminded Kaikeyi. Remember that day in the war, the battlefield, when you saved the king's life? And what did he say? He offered you 2 boons. And you said, you don't have a need for them right now. And you will come back and ask them when you do get a need, right? And now this day, today, the need for those 2 boons have arisen. And those boons now will serve you 1,000 purposes, she said. Now you can now demand from the king that he should grant them to you. Can't you do that? When Manthara spoke so simply and in a very straightforward manner, and so clearly like a black and white thing, Kaikeyi lifted her head up. She had her head down listening to Manthara, and she saw. All of a sudden she was startled. She looked her up and said, Manthara, how clever you are. Now in appearance you are ugly, yeah. And but you are a hunchback. Physically, you look ugly. But in resourcefulness, in creativity, in intelligence, oh my God, you're so extremely charming, she said. Even though you are deficient in the beauty of the body, you make up for it by being an expert in intellectual arguments and attainment, she said. Now tell me, Manthara, how am I to secure these 2 boons and what those boons are to be? Then Manthara replied, Amma, 1 boon shall be that your son shall be crowned as your Raja, as prince. The second can well be that Rama shall not stay in the empire. Now, listening to this suggestion, given on the spot, as it were, like on the spur of the moment, so to speak, without even, Manthara didn't even think about it for a second, Kaikeyi now started reflecting. She said, recovered herself after some time. She said, Manthara, no, it's right. It may be fair and just that demand that my son Bharata should be crowned as Yuvaraja. I have no problem with that, but my mind cannot accept the fact that Rama has to be sent to the forest, out of the kingdom. Now I'm really pained at that thought. Then she dropped onto a seat and sat down because she couldn't stand anymore. Then Manthara thought, oh my God, now I must act very quickly indeed. So she sprang into action. And she said, Amma, this is not an occasion to be sentimental. You should not be confused with sentiments and emotions. And you cannot postpone things. And when you postpone, even ambrosia, even nectar turns into poison. That's what she said. Even a procrastination, she said. Delaying things, even a good thing turns bad. Even a nectar can turn into poison. So, you have to be a little, or else we cannot succeed in our plan. Now, for the cruelty that these people have done on you, there is no adequate reprisal, or there is nothing that you can do that will equate or equal the cruelty that they have done for you. Remember that. Now, if you honestly wish that your son Bharata should become the king, then, and that you should be the queen mother, then you must act this way. Or, listen, Kaikeyi Amma, mother, otherwise I will take poison and take my life off. I cannot bear to see you suffer while I'm alive. How cleverly she's speaking. And then Manthara started crying out loud as if she was carried away by intense love and attachment for Kaikeyi, whom she has brought up from childhood. Right? He had petted her, she had played with her, she had fondled her. She was like Aya, and so she started crying now, as if she was so attached and full of love for her, she couldn't bear her suffering. And then because of the fact that my Manthara had brought her up from young age, Kaikeyi had a special affection for her. And so she replied, no, Manthara, no, be calm, calm down. I will, without fail, act in such a way that you are pleased. Now, who's talking to whom? Kaikeyi is now wanting to please Manthara. She said, now tell me what I should do. How should I act? Then Manthara replied. She said, I suggested to you that you should ask that Rama be sent into exile, should be banished into the forest, beyond the realm of this kingdom. Don't imagine for a second when I asked you to do that I did not think of the consequences. No, I weighed all the pros and cons, and I came to that conclusion only after very careful consideration and due deliberation in my mind. And now, Kaikeyi was a very good, innocent person. Okay? And so she was a child, a novice in the political affairs, in politics. And some of us are not good in politics, right? Because we think too straight. So she was a novice in that. Not only that, she didn't know anything about the legal requirements, the laws of the land and all that. And then, because of that, Manthara continued. She said, the law of the land demands and declares that, when you possess something, how do you really become an owner of that? Somebody can come and contest that, right? So the law says, if you possess it without any interference or interruption continuously for 12 years, then you get to own that property. That's the law of the land. Therefore, we have to fix a length of Rama being banished from the forest. Let's say 14 years, she said, because to be greater than 12. And then when he comes back after that 14 years, he cannot make any claim on the kingdom because Bharata would have by law of the land, would have taken ownership of it, and that cannot be claimed. And therefore, that kingdom will become unquestioned and legal property of your son. And when she made that legal point, now Kaikeyi was astounded, and she then immediately accepted the proposal that Manthara said, because one of her points is so well taken that Kaikeyi immediately saw how the both points were intertwined. One, that her son should be made king, and second, he should be made king in such a way that he acquires authority and unquestioned legal ownership of the rulership of the kingdom. So that's why Rama had to be sent out of the kingdom. So she understood it, she accepted it. And then immediately Manthara saw that Kaikeyi had now accepted her arguments. Then she now started pushing it even further and driving the screw, as they say. And she said, Amma, don't delay. Don't delay even for a minute. One kshanam you should not. Now, if you think you can beg the king for his boons, as you are doing right now, the king will not be persuaded, will not be convinced, and he will not grant your boons. He will not yield. So, what you should do now, you must work up a huge wave of anger. Come on, be angry. And then scatter all the pillows and the sheets and the bed sheets and all in your bedroom, and throw off your jewels into a corner, and loosen your hair, and make it wild and disheveled, and then act as if you have undertaken a resolution, as if you have made up your mind to take your own life. Act like that. Go, come on, lie down on the floor, on the hall of anger. Apparently, the palace had a hall of anger, right? And then, where that hall is supposed to be, where when queens become angry or they will become very sad, they go to that hall and they retire there, and so that other people can discover them. Oh my God, she is in the hall of anger, so something must be wrong, and then console them and bring them back. So this is kind of a drawing attention to yourself, if you would, right? And so she continued. She said, Kaikeyi, you cannot go to the king as you are right now and then go and straight away ask for the boons. No, that will not work. You've got to pretend, act that you are in desperate pain and agony, and that only the granting of the boons only can save you from death. Then only your demand will be worthily considered and properly considered, and then the king will have no choice except to accept your demand for the boons. Come on, get up, Amma. Take the first step now for the work that is ahead. When Manthara guided and directed and compelled and pushed Kaikeyi thus, Kaikeyi yielded to her manipulations. And after carrying out exactly as directed by Manthara, she entered the anger hall, the hall of anger, and started lying down on the floor and started crying out loud her fate and the impending danger to her and the calamity and the sadness that has descended on her. And so she started acting her part. Then what did Manthara do? And she went outside the hall of anger and she started lying down and flopping around on the ground. And after she closed the door of the hall, she went outside and she started flopping on the floor, to and fro, and as if she didn't know what was happening inside and why all this noise was coming inside. Now, in the meantime, Emperor Dasaratha, he had finished making all the arrangements for the coronation ceremony, given instructions, done the supervision, got reports that everything was ready, and made sure, because everything was being done in such a hurry, with very little time. So many things had to be attended to. So he attended to all that and made sure that everything was set in place and things were properly proceeding. And then he came out of the Darbar hall. Then he thought for a second, instead of going to Kausalya's palace, then he said, you should first share this with such a happy news that has happened now. You should share that first with Kaikeyi. So he hurried very fast, walked very fast towards Kaikeyi's palace. Then, as he was walking very fast, all the different maids were there. They were all standing in attention because the king was coming. But they all looked anxious and sad and worried. The king observed all this. But then he told himself, they're all sad and anxious because they have not heard the good news yet. And once they hear the good news, it will lighten their faces up. This is what he was thinking. So he kind of sympathized with them in his mind. Oh my God, they did not know that Rama was to be crowned the very next day. So he started going towards the bedroom where he expected Queen Kaikeyi to be. Now, when he entered the bedroom, what did he see? He saw the jewels were all scattered. The bed was unkept. And then there were heaps of sheets on the floor. And the whole thing was in a general state of uncleanliness and looks like they were distracted. When things are unclean and disheveled and strewn around, it immediately distracts your attention, right? That's what happened. He was really surprised to see this because he'd never seen like this before. And then so he was searching for the queen in different corners of the room, into various rooms and all that. And then one of the maids announced, "Oh, Maharaja, Her Highness Queen Kaikeyi is now in the hall of anger." The moment he heard this, he was tremendously upset. Because why would she go to hall of anger at this instant? So immediately he started going towards that hall. There he saw the whole room was dark. Okay, there was no light. And then Kaikeyi was lying down and sprawled on the floor. And then she was crying and weeping. And he said, "Kaikeyi, what is this ugly scene? Why are you so angry? Who caused you so much pain and sorrow? Tell me. I will kill him this very moment. I will confer happiness to you, Kaikeyi. Tell me. Now you have to only tell me what is it that you wish. I'm ever ready to fulfill your desire and wish. Your happiness is my happiness," he said. Don't you know, Kaikeyi, that I have nothing in the world higher and dearer than you? Come on, do not test me further. So he sat by her side and caressed her head and consoled her in many ways and questioned her, kept on asking her, what is the reason for her anger and sadness and grief? Now, Kaikeyi was in a fit of anger, rage, and she said she was grinding her teeth noisily, and then she threw aside the hands of Emperor when he tried to fondle her, and she said angrily, enough of this false pretense. I trusted you. I put my faith in you for so long, and this is the degradation and humiliation that you have brought on me just because I trusted you. I don't trust you anymore, she said. I could not believe that you are capable of such a hypocritical game that you have played on me. Is this how you want to punish me for putting my faith in you? She was asking. You go to your favorites, and why sit here by my side? And then you always mortgage, use the word she uses. You mortgage your mind in one place and your tongue in another. That means, what she says, you are thinking of other queens and then you are speaking to me. And go and give all your speech and your everything to the place where your mind is always there. Go there. Why are you talking here? I am not in any mood from now onwards to trust you, to place my faith in your words. Don't inflict any more pain on me. Go back the way you came. What do you care what happens to me? Better to die as a queen than drag on as a slave. This day is the last day of my life. This is how Kaikeyi was talking to him. Now, these cryings and weepings and wailings, and as she was sobbing and she was sighing and all that, they conveyed absolutely no meaning to Dasaratha. He could not even begin to understand, let alone fathom, what on earth was happening. He was completely bewildered, flabbergasted, absolutely shocked, confused beyond words, and he was amazed. This is a situation that even unimaginable. So he moved closer to the queen and tried to console her even more and assuage and bring down her anger. He said, Kaikeyi, he said very lovingly, why do you speak like this? What do these words mean? I don't understand. Remember, the king, even though he was a very smart king, he was basically a guileless man, a very innocent, honest man, very devoted to God all the time, dharmic. He doesn't think in a crooked way. And so he was asking her, very straightforward, I don't understand. I never use hypocritical words, Kaikeyi, and nor can I ever use them. I'm incapable of using them. My mind and what I speak and what I think, they're always in unison. They will always be the same. I don't think one thing and say something else. No. Where my love is, there my sweet expressions are. And what I'm speaking, my tongue is not falsifying my mind. No. It's impossible for me to behave like that. And I do not know, but what is happening? You have not been able to know me and my sincerity in spite of that we have been together for so many years. Now, without telling me plainly and in a straightforward manner, what has actually happened to give you so much grief and sadness and misery and pain and anxiety? Don't torture me like this, Kaikeyi. Tell me. You have not told me what is it that's bothering you. Tell me what has happened. Why are you behaving like this? What has caused you this pain and this agony that you are experiencing? So Dasaratha pleaded like this for a long time, not just quickly, no, for a long time, but with absolutely no effect. And the queen, the Kaikeyi, only responded in a very harsh manner, in a sharp manner, and she brushed aside and any attempts by the king to touch her, to fondle her, to console her, and she ridiculed him in a sarcastic manner, and she turned an absolute deaf ear to all the pleadings and reasonings and requesting and begging, if you would, of the king was doing. But she pretended as if she was his words were absolutely of no worth. She treated as if whatever was Dasaratha was saying was meaningless and worthless. So Dasaratha was very wounded in his heart, deeply wounded. He has never could even imagine, let alone experience something like this. So he did not know what to do. Actually, he was flabbergasted. He said, so then he called Manthara in, who was waiting outside. And she rushed in, because she was waiting eagerly to play her part. And the thing was proceeding the way she has designed it, the way she was directing the play. So her role has come now. Her time has come to act. She came in, rushed in. And she said, because she's playing her accomplice role, if you would, in a conspiracy, right, that she has now weaved in. So she was playing a role. She came in, rushing in, and crying out loud and shrieking in loud voice to help the queen, her mistress. And she said, "Oh king, please save my mother." It's phenomenal the way she played. She came rushing in, fell down at the feet of Dasaratha and started crying, "Please save my mother, save my mother." And she held on to his feet. Now, the emperor king was really an embodiment of innocence. He was a childlike man. A pure heart he had. And he had absolutely no trace of cunningness or duplicity in him. So, he was not able to see through the drama that was being enacted right in front of him. He was not able to see it because his mind does not function that way. So he really thought some danger, some calamity must have happened to make his beloved queen behave so in such a strange manner and also in such a firm manner. And Kaikeyi was extremely stern and firm. So he asked Manthara again to please tell him what exactly had taken place. He said, "Manthara, what happened? You tell me." Because he's such a guileless, innocent person, he really wants to know in a black and white manner. Manthara said, "Oh Maharaja, what can I tell you? I am not at all aware in the least bit what happened. No, I'm not aware." And Queen, the mother, does not divulge her secrets and the reasons for her anger or sadness to anyone. No, she doesn't. All of a sudden, I just saw her walking very fast, hurrying from the bedroom into this hall of anger. That's all I saw. And then noticing this, I came here immediately. I prayed and pleaded and begged her in various ways. Many ways I tried. But no, she did not tell me the reason. No. And Maharaja, she does not even confide in you. She does not even share with you what is bothering her. How do you think she is going to reveal that to me? Then I am just a poor servant. All of us, we are seeing her suffering, Maharaja, in pain and agony and misery. I cannot bear this anymore. I cannot bear. I've brought her up from childhood. I cannot bear my mother, my queen, suffering like this. I don't know what is bothering her. And I cannot bear this anymore, Maharaja. Please, I'm really afraid. We are all afraid what might happen to her. And so, all of us have been waiting for your arrival very eagerly. Unless you comfort her, unless you bring her around, unless you bring joy into her, her condition now might turn very critical. She has suffered very deeply, and she has suffered it for too long a time. And her condition is growing worse every moment. And now with that, I will retire now. So she takes permission and leaves the room. So she played her part and came out, along with all the other maids, saying, "Maharaja, please find out from her the reason for her grief and anger, and please console her, make her all right. Please, whatever you have to do, please make her all right." And then Manthara, all she did was, she added to the mystery. She didn't divulge anything. She just played up and reinforced the confusion, the bewilderment, the mystery that was there. And so when she left, Dasaratha was even more confused, absolutely confused than he was before he asked Manthara to come in. So he sat by the weeping, sobbing queen and said, Kaikeyi, why do you keep me in the dark like this? So he gently lifted her head from the bare floor and placed it on his lap, and really kept on asking her repeatedly to reveal to him, to share with him the reason for her suffering. And that we will stop today because the time is up, and we will continue with Swami's grace tomorrow. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.